Am I meant to talk? We can't hear you.
Oh, I was on mute. So not yet. So what we'll do is we'll just give it a couple more minutes and then Noah will introduce and then I wonder if Rabbi Joseph's coming tonight actually. He often is here by now, but I'm gonna just double check if he's gonna make it. If he does actually manage to come, he can maybe just give a few words at the end.
Very thankful for Lea Hadad that's giving the talk today. Lea is a twice breast cancer survivor who has been through many journeys, and she would like to share some of her journeys with us. She's going to share with us how important self-care, self-awareness, love, worth is important in our journeys in life. Professionally, Lea is a CA, a chartered accountant. She's a mother of 2 beautiful children. And this talk Lea presents with this talk and technique, Lea often presents to the DL Link. And I just want to thank her again for giving of her precious time and running this talk for us. So Lea, over to you. We look forward to getting some practical tips on self-love, self-worth.
Well, let me start off by, I couldn't wish for it to be better than on the 1st of October, as October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's why I'm wearing pink, as you can all see. And you know, those, and as much as women get breast cancer, so do men, but let's leave that part aside. But even beyond that, going through the pandemic that we're going through, and also going now through Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and going through right through to Sukkot, is the whole idea and time in our time now specifically is to reconnect with ourselves and to actually ask who we are. I mean, I think on Rosh Hashanah, we sort of all look at what did we do or what did we didn't do the previous year, Yom Kippur, how are we going to be judged? And obviously on Sukkot, to go down to the Sukkah, out to the Sukkah, leave all our physical, materialistic things behind and just connect. And as much as it is to connect to Hashem, it is very much to connect to ourselves. So I'm going to start by asking you all a question and just put it in your mind. Who are you? I know it sounds like a simple question, but it ain't. Because we go through our whole lifetimes and sometimes we actually even ignore trying to find out who we really are. We most probably know our friends better than we know ourselves. We've got to remember one thing, and that is what my workshop and my talk is all about, is learning to know who you are. And these simple techniques in doing so. At the end of the day, we live with ourselves all our lives. And we've got to be happy and know how to live with ourselves, especially the pandemic time. I mean, without the pandemic time, oh, we could go out, we could be with other people. God forbid we must be with ourselves. And I think this period of time has really made us be with ourselves. I think this Yom Kippur, a lot of us had to be at home with ourselves. The whole idea is let's get to learn to know ourselves, to learn to know who we are, worth ourselves, and learn to love ourselves. So how do we do that? So we start by asking ourselves questions. First one we ask ourselves is, what are we good at? And let me tell you, Hashem creates good qualities and good things in every single human being. Even the children that seem to be retarded, even the people that don't seem okay. Everyone has got good qualities, and sometimes we forget to focus on them. And we need to actually, every now and again, even jot down, or even just think about it. What am I good at? I'm good at talking, as you can all see. Well, I'm good with figures. Other people cannot do figures. Other people love art. Everyone is good at something. And whatever you're good at is part of what makes who you are. I mean, like, I've got, like, obviously I'm going to use personal examples because that's what I know. But my son Elias, as you all know, is very much into golf. Those were his qualities. My Uzi doesn't play. I don't play. I've never had golf in the family, but he was born with that for a reason. And it's part of what his career is. I'm very good with figures. I'm very good with talking. So I became a CA. Everyone has got qualities and good qualities. And we've got to sometimes ask ourselves, what am I really good at? And sometimes we're not just good at one thing. We're good at other things, and we've got to acknowledge them. So that is the first thing of learning to know, who am I? What makes who I am? Second thing, what are our hobbies? And I think a lot of us so get carried away with maybe work, with family. We don't even think what type of hobbies are good for us or what we'd like to do. And this is by trial and error. Because every time you might be interested in something, you've got to try it out. And sometimes you try out something for a while and it serves that while, and then you move on to something else. Your hobby can be reading. Your hobby can be walking outside. Your hobby can be swimming. Whatever it is, I think it's very important for each and every single one of us to connect to at least one hobby that we can somehow experience. I mean, like lately, because of all this lockdown, and I used to love dancing, but obviously that's out of the question now. I try coloring in, and I think coloring in is quite therapeutical. So by trying and error of seeing what hobbies relate to you also gets for you to know who you are. And it also helps you connect and be happy to be with yourself. So that's another one. I know these things sound simple, but when you start putting each and everything together, you'll start understanding more and more of who you like. Next one is, what is it that I do not like? We all have things we don't like, and no one can actually tell us what we can or what we cannot like. I mean, I have an example of a friend actually, and I mean, I did a bit of spiritual work with her at the time, and she loved tidiness. I mean, if she saw anything messy, it would actually upset her beyond. So some people it disturbs, and others it doesn't. But we got to the bottom of it. And what was the bottom of it? Sometimes we don't like things because we relate to things associated with them. So what happened when she was brought up by both her parents, she was very connected to her father. Her father was a very organized, neat person. Her mother and her clashed. So her mother was the messy person. So she grew up thinking good people are only tidy people and messy people are not so nice. So we've got to try and see, because we all don't like different things. And that's okay. And no one can tell us, oh, you know, why don't you like this? Or why are you angry with this? Or we all are individual people, and these things we do not like because it's very personal to who we are. And sometimes you've got to dig into it and find what's underneath it. And sometimes just accept who you are. I'm the type of person that doesn't like that. I don't like eating margarine. I don't like it. Other people will live on it. Everyone is different. And the whole idea of self-knowing and self-worth is to accept who you are and understand who you are by asking yourself all these questions. Next one. As much as we must look at things that I don't like, what do I like? Colors. What are my favorite colors? I don't need to be like everyone else. If everyone is into one color, you try and see what colors you're attracted to. It's such an important part of who you are. Wear those colors, be around those colors, find those flowers for colors. The other one is taste in food. What type of food do you like? What type of food don't you like? I mean, I'll give you like an interesting one that I had very recently for myself. And every time I give this workshop over, I also ask myself the same questions. And let me tell you, we ask these questions to ourselves our whole lifetime, because our whole lifetime is about growth, and it is about getting to know ourselves more and more. So obviously I'm a mother, like all of you are, and when we go grocery shopping, what do we think about? You know, this child likes this and that child likes this, and for all of you that are married, my husband likes this. And their old towel went away, and I went shopping, and I had to look at the shop and think, Lea, what do you like? And I know it sounds like a bizarre question, but like, what do I like? I'm forever buying and getting what they want, what they need. But like with her gone, there were so many things I didn't need to buy. But what do I want? We've got to start focusing as much as, yes, we're there to nurture our children, to raise them up. We mustn't lose ourselves in anything. We must try not to lose ourselves, not in our jobs, not as a mother, not as a wife, and not as a husband. As much as this is important to women, it is as important to men. And I think men are even less connect to those things, but they should. They go and they're breadwinners and they come home. No, they must also go find their hobbies, see what they're good at, see what they like. Like I say, colors, smells, even smells are so important. Surround yourself with the smells that uplift you. I mean, when the jasmines now in spring start, I go on a high. So someone puts me on drug, but that's the smell that makes me happy. I mean, I love incense, but everyone needs, you've got to start connecting and experimenting. Certain perfumes that you even wear, or aftershaves that men wear. Does it make you feel, I mean, I know that for most of us, when we get dressed up with a perfect perfume, the smell and all uplifts us. So, but we're all different. Everyone likes different smells, different colors, different types of music. See what music is for you. What music, when you listen to, uplifts you. What type of movies do you like watching? Or are you watching everything because everyone else is watching? Start connecting, and that's what I'm saying with the whole pandemic and going to Sukkot, start connecting to you as much as it is to connect to Hashem, it is to connect to you. Next one is, what type of people and company do I like being with? That's also an important one. Am I hanging around certain people because our kids are playing together, or because the husbands are friends? Who makes me happy? Which company do I enjoy being with? Yes, sometimes you've got to be in companies with people we might not prefer to be, but we've got to start focusing on those friends that we can be with and they uplift us. We've also got to have those friends that we can sit and cry with. We've got to know which company we enjoy, and different people enjoy different companies. I mean, some people would only like a one-on-one company, and that's okay. It doesn't make you good or bad. This is what this whole thing's about. It's about being you. Do you like being with one friend at a time? Do you like going to a party and have lots of people? You're an introvert or an extrovert is okay. It doesn't make you better, or it doesn't make you worse. And we have different kinds of friends. You'll find it, like, for example, some of my friends I could never put together because they're each different, but they each, when I'm with them, I love being with them. And it's something that all of us, men and women, have got to be able to connect with their friends, with a good friend that is good for them. Next one, feelings. What do I feel? How many times do we deny ourselves of feeling because just people don't think we should feel that way? Oh, why are you so upset about this? Oh, it's just nothing. Why are you crying over this? This isn't sad. Or even the opposite way around. You're so excited about this. How can you be so excited about something so small? Connect to your feelings. Your feelings is when your soul starts talking to you, and it's okay what you feel, and allow it. Fully allow it. I cannot express enough, and especially being a breast cancer survivor and any cancers associated. What is cancer? What are diseases? They are emotional diseases. It's because, I mean, obviously there's a medical explanations to a lot of those things, but on an emotional level, we don't allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel. Want to be angry? Be angry. Yes, get to the bottom of it. You feel sad? Get to the bottom of it. Even anxiety, whatever you feel, it is real for you. And no one, I know, like in a lot of circumstances, like people will turn to one another and say, oh no, now that I've heard your story, okay, mine is nothing. No, yours is not nothing. It is just as whatever, fearful, sad, anger, whatever it is in you, it is personal to you, and you've got to allow yourself to feel it. The negative emotions, I always say, try and get to the bottom of it if you can, in whatever way you can. Speaking to a friend, I go for body talk, go see a psychologist, but get to the bottom of them if they keep on repeating themselves. The positive ones, on the other hand, see what makes you happy. See what uplifts you. Make a note of it to know when you need to feel great, what it is that you need to recreate. I mean, happy things can be small things. It's not necessarily the fancy car or the fancy house. I mean, it's little things. Like, I mean, one of my absolute highlights through this pandemic is, as you all know, I am an Israeli, and I grew up in Israel in a city called Bat Yam, and I was there at school from grade 1 to grade 5. And out of nowhere, in the middle of all these lockdowns, I get on Facebook, I get a message, Lea, are you Lea Ben Basat, who was in Yerushalayim school in Bat Yam? Please, we're going like 40 years back, guys. And there was a guy in that class that decided to reunite us all. And it's memories I cannot even begin to explain to any of you, but it's something that made me so happy. Somebody else might think, oh, it's nothing much. That's what I'm saying. It can be little things. I mean, people kept the postcards that I've sent them to Israel when I moved to South Africa at the age of 11. That to me was wow. You know, for other people, you get a piece of jewelry and it's wow. To me, it doesn't say a thing, but we all different. Look what makes you happy. Look what excites you. Connect to your feelings. Don't undermine them. It's a very important one to really getting to know who you are. And some of the negative things, if you can work on it and make it better, make it better. But I want you all to remember one thing. Most of your self-work, when you want to change things or work on yourself or try and get to the bottom of things, you cannot do it on your own. You can never do it on your own. It doesn't matter how wise you are, how spiritual you are. It does not matter. If we need to want to change things with ourselves, we cannot do it on our own. Sometimes it is just speaking to a friend. Sometimes it is just being with someone else, but you cannot do this on your own. So feelings are very important to actually guide us quite a bit. Next one, to find out who we are. What do we look at others? How do we judge others? They all say it's like a mirror of who we are. It's not. It is a mirror and it's not a mirror. What it is, for example, when you're pregnant, you notice all the pregnant women out there. It's because something you're looking at, or if you're struggling to fall pregnant, trust me, you see every single pregnant woman, and I've been there. Or if you're having problem when your children are small and they're 2 years old and they're having the worst tantrums and you're not coping with it, trust me, you will see every child that's having a tantrum, or alternatively, you'll choose to see the children that are so well behaved to think, what's wrong with mine? So start looking at, when you look at people, like for example, a very short person will always look at the height of people. I've never looked at the height of people. A person that's got an issue with their weight will always see the thin people. So see, when you walk around, what are you looking at the people? What are you watching for? Because it'll show something within you that you either need to work on or deal with or talk about, because it's absolutely something within your life. So that is where the mirror effect is. Because if you're not wanting to fall pregnant, and if you are not pregnant yourself, you must probably hardly ever see a pregnant woman walking around. It's fascinating. Start watching yourselves when you walk around, what you look at when you look at other people. Next one. As much as we've got to see what our good qualities are, we've also got to see what are bad qualities about ourselves that we don't like. Some we've got to accept. A lot of them we've got to just accept, but others, if we choose to work on it, work on it. But you cannot start working on anything until you acknowledge for yourself, I get angry too quickly, or I've got an anxiety problem. Unless you come back to that, you cannot deal with it. So it's looking at yourself as much as saying, these are my good, strong qualities. I work with them. I've also got my not so good qualities. Some I cannot do. I cannot do maths. That's okay. I cannot draw. I can only draw a stick man. That's okay. I don't want to get better at it. It doesn't interest me. But if I did, I'd go to art classes. So see what are not your good qualities as well, and work on them. If you want to, you either want to work on them or accept them. Like I say, I can only draw a stick man. I'm not interested in doing. I'm coloring in, loving it. But that is my arty part of me. But everyone's got a different part of who you are. So as far as self-worth, and that is part one, is getting to know who you are. And obviously, you've got to start asking yourselves more and more questions about yourselves. Those are the main topics of learning to know who you really are. But there's more. So don't be scared to ask, why do I feel that way? Why do I like this color? Get in touch with who you are. So that's point number one for self-worth. Next part of self-worth, to be able to have self-worth, because what do we want self-worth for? It's not for ego. We've got to understand who we are and our place in this world, because at the end of the day, Hashem does not create rubbish. No one on this earth is here for nothing. If you're not meant to be here, you wouldn't be here. We're all part of a tiny little puzzle of a complete picture. So we've got to have that self-worth to understand I need to be in this world. And I talk to myself too. As I'm talking to all of you, I talk to myself too. Next step is self-love. So what is love? Do we give love first, or do we just love? How does it work? And the ultimate example of what love is children. Think we have our little babies and they're born and they can absolutely give us nothing in return. And all we do is we give them and we give them and we give them. And the more we give them, the more we love them. Because it's part of who you are that is invested in somebody else. And the more you invest in that somebody else, the more you love them. Think of your good friends that you love. Think of your partners that you love. The more you give them, the more you love them. So how do we love ourselves? It's by giving to ourselves just as much. And as much as it is important to give to the people around us. If you don't refuel and you don't love yourself and you don't give yourself, you cannot give out there. So that self-love is so important, and give yourselves in different ways. Go to a shop, buy yourself that little chocolate and eat it on your own and love every single bite of it. Go for a walk just for you. Go meet up with a friend for coffee just for you. See what you love to do. Give to yourself. Go have a great manicure. Go have a good run. Go cycle, whatever is just for you, to refuel you. Some people, to love themselves, just need time out. Just need to go somewhere, even sit in a coffee place, all on your own. And that's fine. That is just giving to you. You've got to learn to love yourself. And to love yourself is by giving yourself, be it whatever. And it doesn't always have to cost. Like I say, sometimes it's just walking up the road and just being in a park all on your own with a complete quietness. Sometimes it's about taking time out to meditate. Sometimes it's about going to a club. That's fine. It's whatever it is that is for you, to replenish you. We cannot be there, not for the spouses, not for the children, if you don't refuel yourself. You have to love yourself and to give. So what is self-worth at the end of the day? How do we self-worth ourselves? We self-worth ourselves by getting to know who we are, number one, and by learning to love ourselves. And by doing that and by having self-worth, it's not about ego. It is not about I'm better than anybody else. No, it's about acknowledging who I am. It doesn't make you better than any other person. Ego is when you think you're better than somebody. No. Self-worth is about, this is who I am, this is my role. The other person is going to be very different to me. I'm not better than the other person, and the other person's not better than me. And when you understand who you are, it becomes very difficult for people to emotionally abuse you and for people to degrade you, be it in the workplace, be it in relationships, be it in anywhere. Because the minute we're unsure of who we are and people throw things at us, and you'll find that people will throw things at you that will go boom into the core of where your weaknesses are, it'll upset you. Like if someone tells me I'm fat and I'm happy about being fat and I'm okay with it, it's not going to upset me. But if I've got issues with it and someone tells me I'm fat or I picked up weight, it'll really upset me. But if I know myself and I know where my parameters and where my limits are, and happy with my space and with who I am, it's not going to affect me. If someone tells me you're stupid, if I know that I'm not, or if I know that I'm my how can I say it, my wisdom is where I want it to be, it's okay. But if I think that I'm not learned enough and I've always felt stupid, if someone tells me I'm stupid, it's going to hit me straight to the core. So by knowing yourself, it actually avoids people hurting you. And you start understanding that when people throw things at you, it's more sometimes about them, but if it affects you, it's about you too. And ego, on the other hand, is when you think you're better than someone, and that's a no-no. Because people with high egos, people will stay away from them. So as much as self-worth might sound, oh, I feel good about myself. Yes, we need to feel good about ourselves. That is what self-worth is about, but it doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else. So let me summarize. So to summarize, our responsibilities is only to ourselves to get to know who I am. So like I started with a question at the very beginning of who are you? You can now understand that it's a lifetime of work to find out who we really are and to ask ourselves who we are. I think we get we often so lose ourselves, and it's okay. We go through periods of our lives where we lose ourselves. It's okay. Regain it again. Regain to find out who you really are, because then you're going to start enjoying your own company much better. Still can have people around you, great. But get to know who you are. And we are, and I really believe that this pandemic has actually brought a lot of us to not run away from ourselves. That's what it's brought down, is to be with ourselves. And especially now, like I say, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, going into Sukkot. And in the pandemic, being with your own family, being with your own self without being over involved with all the chaos around, it's to come back to you as a family unit, to you as your individuality, to you as yourself. Now, at the very beginning of the COVID-19, it's called in Hebrew Corona. And one thing that came to me, and I actually shared it at the time, even with Rabbi Daniel Katz, is, you know, everyone says the corona is the crown, but to me, something else came. And what came to me was, corona comes from the word keren, which is a beam of light. And Hashem is shining on us from the top to try and lighten us, to reconnect to the light within us and to the light that he brings into this world. So through all this time, I think a lot of it, that is what it's all about. And that's why I think I'm so honored to be able to give this talk over, to just share with you, and hopefully for all of you to take something with you and appreciate it, and wish for you all Chag Sukkot Sameach. And anyone with questions? So now, are there any?
So I don't have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I don't have a question, but I've got a comment. I do feel, especially when you were discussing taking things to heart. So if somebody says you're fat and it bothers you, or somebody says you're stupid and it bothers you because maybe deep down you felt you should have studied more, you feel you're not that clever. I also find personally that sort of that also comes with age. So I'm not saying that I'm old and wise, but I'm saying that things that people may have told me in my 20s would pretty much not upset me, would have upset me in my 30s. And often things that people would have said to me in my 30s, now in my 40s, they really don't upset me. You know, you've sort of come past it. And I suppose with life experience and whatever journey any of us have been through, teaches you that there are things that are just not important within your own life.
But
so
it's getting to know yourself and not trying, like when we're 20, to try and be somebody else or to try to be part of the crowd. So the older you get, the more comfortable we hopefully get within our own skins.
Yes, so I think we do learn a lot about ourselves the older we are, because I suppose we're spending more time with ourselves. The second point I just wanted to make is your comment about making time for yourself. Just one sec, guys. Making time for yourself. And people that know me know that for my 40th, I left everything behind and I flew to meet my best friend in Cuba.
Brilliant.
And that's not something that I would have ever done. But what I learned on that trip is that I am entitled to let go, and I am entitled to have me time. And it's not only from your kids or your responsibilities, it's from my work, it's from my clients, it's from anything that is my day-to-day life. I learned on that trip that I am entitled and I mustn't feel guilty for needing some me time. And yes, if it's away from your kids for a few days, or if it's away from your clients for a few days, we all deserve that.
You know what it made you say to yourself most probably? I am.
Yeah.
I'm a person too. I mean, that is a brilliant one. I mean, like, I still need to learn from that, but I like applaud you for that, because that is a brilliant one of taking time out of your life, of going out there. And I'm sure you connected to yourself in a way you haven't for a long time.
Well, 100%. Just traveling on my own to get to meet, my friend was in Canada. I had to get to Canada, and then we went to Cuba together. And, there was a lot of me time as well in there. And I mean, I have to mention, obviously, I had to have a great support structure behind me. And I mean, my husband took care of 3 children, and I'm thinking it was almost 3 years ago, so they were fairly young. So yes, it is very important to have self-love, but a lot of women and a lot of us can say that we need the support system behind us as well. So we do need to build the support system around us to enable us to take time out.
Let me just tell you a secret. Before you know it, your kids grow up and they couldn't be bothered about you. But
it's starting, Lea. It's starting.
But in the meantime, even when they are little, to take those little breaks, and it doesn't have to be every day. Put time aside. I know Lindy is on, and I applaud her as well. I mean, her and I walk every single day, and it's our time, and we just don't give it up. And Lindy just does not give it up, and I love it absolutely about her. But it's also it's just getting breath back into your day, especially with the pandemic going around and we all so secluded. Got to do something a bit different.
Yeah, so thank you, Lea. I think that what you said really resonated with me. So thanks for that on my side.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Lea. I also really enjoyed that. I've got a comment and also a question. I mean, in the work that I do, I guess I always feel incredibly privileged to, just to be able to often work with people and travel journeys with people when they're going through sometimes sort of the hardest times in their lives. And there's always this quote, I'm going to read it, I've just pulled it off my phone, but I'm sure a lot of people will know it. It's a Leonard Cohen, it comes from one of Leonard Cohen's songs, and it's ring the bells that still can ring, forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. And I just think,
beautiful.
I think there's something very powerful also when you're thinking about self-love and self-worth, that people sometimes think that you have to aspire for some sort of level of perfection, but actually it's in those cracks, in those moments where hard things in life collide with us, that we can really do our work. And really,
I know all about that.
And so that is actually my question. I mean, you have survived a lot and been through a lot of your own, had to do your own pain, your own work through that pain. And I just wondered if your perspective on self-love and self-worth is different, having had to sit in those dark places.
Absolutely. I mean, that is where this whole workshop comes from. And I can't say I'm 100% at it. I still get to learn to know myself. I don't know if, as much as I've had breast cancer twice, I don't know if you guys are aware, when I was pregnant with Ortal, I was in hospital for 3 months. I nearly lost my life. I was on a bed in a hospital at the age of 30. I wasn't allowed to see the sunlight outside. All I was allowed to do is go to the bathroom. I was allowed to just go and have a quick shower, and that's it. Lie in bed for 3 months, guys, and then I had a perforated ulcer. And I learned to be with myself, and every day in our lives is about that. And to nurture myself, yes, I go often for massages. That's what I like. I go for body talk because I'm very much into spirituality. I mean, I do meditate, and I do go for body talk once a month, and it's my time. Some people go to psychologists, and I do respect you all, because you all have got a big part. And I think everyone needs to find out what it is that builds them up. What is it that recharges them? I mean, I love going for, like I say, time massage. Sometimes it's playing my piano. But obviously I've learned. And you do learn, and you learn your whole lifetime, Aideen. It's not just every time. And sadly enough, you do experience and you do grow from these cracks. You do. Because it makes you stop and think.
Thanks, Lea.
Thank you.
I wonder if anybody else got anything that they
Don't know what was.
What we can also just say is that when Lea said she was in bed for 3 months, it was pre-Netflix. So you really had to be with yourself, you know?
Yeah. That's why we when the lock I watched Dallas. Please guys, this is going back. There wasn't even DSTV. There was nothing. It was just starting TV 1, 2 or 3. You know what, at that time what I learned is, and that's what pulled me through a lot through the lockdown, is you've got to have a routine. I used to get up. I used to just change from my pajamas just to feel normal in my bed. I used to read one book. Then I used to pray. Then I used to have breakfast. And I had a routine. And fun enough, I left TV for very late in the afternoon because you can't just sit in front of the TV. I embroidered. I did tapestry. I don't want to tell you what my phone bill was like. There were no cell phone, guys. There was no cell phone. There was no WhatsApp. There was no Facebook. Nothing I think of it. But you do with what you get. You make the best of it. I had 2 choices. I could either sit there for 3 months and cry, or I could just make the best of it. I had to sit there for 3 months whether I liked it or not.
So can I make a comment and also ask a question?
Absolutely, doctor.
So the first thing I wanted to know is, when do you start teaching children or adults? I mean, you've been talking from the ladies' side and I'm coming from the men's side. But when do you start teaching people about their self-worth? So let me just tell you that when I was little, I used to look like the wobbly man. I would look like a banana, look like a pumpkin, and my head top was like a strawberry. And so I was ridiculed about how fat and how useless. And this did have an effect on me. And I must say, I had to work through this. When I went to university, when I did medicine, I was always the one that always tried to get out because I couldn't find that I had any self-worth as such. And I think I had to work through it. So when do people start working through this? And when do you start teaching your kids about who they are, or to learn who they are, how valuable they are, what they can offer, what they can make, what they can do?
Look, so me raising my children, because as you can see, I've been through quite a bit from very young, is first of all to acknowledge them, and if they need help, go get them help. That's what ADN is there for. If you, as a parent, we need to try and be alert to what our children needs are, and to be alert when they're being mocked, and to, I mean, both my kids went to Yeshiva college, and somehow I am an Israeli, and somehow in the schools they were always mocked and they were belittled. And as a parent, I had to be very alert about it. I had to convince my son, thought he was ugly because he was called ugly, and he was called a cafe. Excuse me saying this on this forum, but that's what he was being called. And I took them out, and I took them to a government school where they flourished. But you've got to be alert. I've got a daughter that's got major anxiety problems. You've got to be alert from, I mean, she went to play therapy when she was little because I knew she had anxiety. So you've got to be alert about it. And that's why I say there's so many things we cannot do on our own. And there's help out there. There's so many different therapies, from children's therapies to adults therapies to spiritual therapies. We've got to be alert and build our kids up from as young as they can. And I'm sure Dean will agree with me.
No, I think if I could just add to what you're saying, I think we're very privileged in a way in this day and age that there is more of an awareness. And even though there are always challenges around bullying and around things that happen in schools, and just normal sort of nastiness that doesn't even qualify as bullying, as kids are sort of jostling for position, and I mean, it can be quite savage what happens between children. We are, I suppose, in a time where there are different conversations. I mean, the very fact that we're having this conversation and that these are the sorts of topics that people are presenting means that I guess our children grow up in a time where there are different sorts of discourses and different awareness around needing to protect and educate and hold our children differently.
But
So
Dr. Davis, Martin Davis, see where you got yourself to. You're one of the most well-known pediatricians in town. Doesn't matter who mocked you when you were little. But if there was only help to make you believe in yourself when you were little, I hear you. There wasn't at the time. You just had to move on.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, which, look, I've done a lot of spiritual work and the work of Brendan Bays, which I also facilitate myself, and you go back to those, like I was facing my mother in my meditations and in my deep thinking. And what we need to remember is that my mom and your parents as well came from Second World War. And we've got to accept them for who they were, because they were on survival modes. So there wasn't a lot that they could offer us as children to build ourselves up. So obviously us on a later age have to rebuild ourselves. I had to start seeing my mother. I love her to bits. And let me tell you, she's done more than possible from where she was in Bulgaria, stuck in an underground cellar, being hidden away. So she taught me not to cry. She taught me not to feel. She taught me to be strong. She taught me to get over with it, because she was on survival mode. And it took me a while to learn to cry. It took me a while to learn to feel, to acknowledge and not to feel numb. So it's never too late. Never too late. Hope I've answered you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else? I don't know what the comments, anyone got other questions on the chats maybe? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I that I'd muted myself. Maybe we can just read some of the comments. I don't know if you can see them, but Lindy's comment was, "Dear Lea, you're so warm-hearted that your lecture reflected your easygoing nature. I love listening to you as though we were having coffee together." And Lorraine, "Thank you, Lea, for most interesting and thought-provoking talk tonight."
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Lorraine, I enjoyed seeing your carrot on your shoulder. Where's it gone?
What carrot?
No, parrot.
Oh, the parrot there.
That's what I love about this coffee club. If we were having coffee at the shul together or somewhere else, we wouldn't see all each other. There we go.
All each other's. Oh, there it is. Yeah, now I can. Now. So I hope I've added to your coffee club.
Great, it was wonderful. Thank you, Lea.
I do meditations. If anyone's ever interested at some point or another, I can always teach you guys to meditate, but this was about something different.
Great, thank you. As we do every week, we try and have a raffle of a prize. What I learned last week was that I need to just check that everybody's name is on their device. So there was, I think, one person who it said iPhone, but I don't actually know if that person is still on. If you could just make sure that you've got your name on your device, and if you don't, maybe you could just drop it in the chat. So tonight we have two lovely prizes. We have thank you very much to Gelatissimo, and unfortunately I'm not able to screen share their advert, but they have. Oh, Stephen! Oh, yay! Let's just see if it's going to come up. Okay, but anyway, thank you to Gelatissimo, who has donated a 100 Rand voucher, the most delicious ice creams. If you haven't had it, oh, there we go. So either to have some ice cream or to put it towards something else. And then to my dad, Martin, who has donated a Monty Python. What was it, Dad?
Pardon?
What's your donation for the prize?
I'm giving a collection of Monty Python called the Monty Python 40th anniversary. I'm sure everybody remembers Monty Python.
Awesome.
I'm sure that when you see Monty Python and see how way out, perhaps a little dated, but how way out everything was, that you can only feel good after that. So, it's actually this year the second Monty Python has now left and gone to the theatre in the sky, but still I think that these things are still there to entertain us. So I've tried to I've got this. It's a brand new copy of Monty Python's 40th anniversary. It's called the Almost the Truth, the Lawyer's Cut, and I want to donate it to. I hope people still have DVD players, and if you feel you'd rather pass it on, please do. But I hope it's going to give somebody a few good hours of fun.
That's wonderful. Thank you. So are we going to do 2 separate draws or 1 draw for both? Anybody have any preferences? No?
Aideen, Adam sitting here to my left says 2 separate draws. Let's get 2 lucky winners tonight.
Okay. All right. Mixie, do you want to do the draw? Okay, Mixie will do the draw for us. She's sitting next to me. Okay, I need 2 numbers. So take 2 of these, please. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
let's see. Choose the first. Okay, so the first one will be for the Monty Python collection. And this one goes to, okay, what number is it, Mixie? 17. 17, and that's Margot Gomez. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the second prize, another one, is for the ice cream at Gelatissimo.
16.
And 16 is Wendy Siegel. Ice cream for you, Wendy. Well
Thank
done.
you so much. Thank you. Thanks, Minx, for drawing my number. That's so exciting.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Enjoy. So, we are very excited that our next coffee club, which is going to be, we're not going to do next week because next week is during Sukkot. But the one after that is one that we've been waiting for a while, and that is Stephen Siegel's. And I'm just getting Steve's topic. I'm going to send out the poster very soon. But it is Steve. Are you on? Are you there?
Yes. I need to remember as well. Yeah,
sorry, Steve, you've sent it to me a few times. Here, I've got it. India, exploring its rich Jewish history, cultures, and traditions. So that is very exciting. We've already had one in our travel series, rounded Morocco, and this one will be another awesome one in our travel series. And I mean, everybody can see that this is a diverse coffee club. Some of the talks are more formal, some of them are more engaged and interactive. Please volunteer and don't be shy. We've all got so much that we can offer each other. So if anybody wants to open a discussion or offer a topic, please contact Noah or I. And otherwise, yeah, we just wish you all a wonderful Chag Sameach and a wonderful Sukkot. And again, looking forward to at some point hiring a great coffee bar and meeting for some good coffee together. But for now, this is what it is, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everybody.
so much.
Thank you,
It
Lea.
was wonderful.